Hey guys, how's it going? It's Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel with another video for you guys here today, and I am now recording this right after the Dallas Cowboys lost to the Cincinnati Bengals in the most buffoonish way I could describe, because you block a punt. All you gotta do is don't touch it. It was like the Leon Let play all over again. This time, instead of it being a field goal attempt, it was a punt. Then you have number 27. I'm sorry, I don't recall his name off the top of my head to pronounce. He is a dumbass. He tries to pick the ball up to try and return it. And because of that, it leads to the Bengals recovering it. And they go and score a go-ahead touchdown and the game's over. Now, there was a couple things that bugged me in this game, and I know that the Cowboys are not making it to the playoffs, but it's part of this evaluation process of, okay, if you guys are going to show up and play and you're going to do your thing, you need to go out there and show that you're not full of shit. And so I'm just trying to process what just happened as I'm recording this after the game took place. So we're going to go through some stats. We're going to talk about some things I took away from the game, and oh my god, dude. I just don't know what to say other than this team is so damn dumb, and a lot of stuff was going on. So starting off with the Cowboys side of things, Cooper Rush, 16 for 31, 183, 2 touchdowns and an interception, sacked 3 times. By the way, the interception wasn't his fault. It was batted up. He was sacked 3 times, pass rating 77.8. Rico Dowdle, dude, what a game from Rico, man. 18 carries, 131 yards, and 7.3 yards per carry. I'm going to put a pin on that because there is something I want to talk about when it comes to the situational football that we keep talking about, and it's getting annoying. CeeDee Lamb, 6 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown. He's been playing very damn good football given the situation, especially after Troy Aikman called him out. But after that, you got like Jake Ferguson at 32 yards, 3 receptions. Really no one else outside of that. Amani, the guy who fumbled the football. I do not want to see this man on the team tomorrow. He needs to be cut immediately. I do not give a flying fuck what the situation is. You need to set an example. And I'm going to get onto that in just a moment because it's about like the discipline and telling your team what you have to do. And there was a point where I was getting mad at John Foss. I'll get to that in a moment. Defensively, you got 2 sacks. You had Donovan Wilson with a half sack, and then you have Maris Leofau with 1.5 sacks. Good on him. Unfortunately, DeMarvion Overshown did get hurt. We're not sure what the scope of the injury is, so we'll figure that out later down the line. Cavante Turpin didn't really have a whole lot of opportunities, and Brandon Aubrey had 2 field goals. For the Bengals, Jamar Chase cooked the living hell out of you. 14 receptions, 177 yards. Joe Burrow just carved up your defense, 33 for 44, 69 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. I mean, it was really hard to just watch as we tried so many times to sack him and he wouldn't go down. But a lot of holding calls from the Bengals, which was, all right, cool. We held the Bengals to 74 rushing yards, only on 3.9 yards per attempt. Really limited the chunk plays in the run game, which is great. Yeah, okay, that's enough of the stats shit, because there's a couple things why you lost this game. Number one, Cooper Rush is a backup as we expect, and there were throws he needed to make he didn't make. And it resulted in you being in certain situations. And then this is where I get super frustrated with Mike McCarthy, Brian Schottenheimer, and that offensive side of the ball. You are running the ball with Rico Dowdle at like nearly 8 yards a clip. And he has a run of about 12-ish yards. And it was like the first carry from scrimmage it was like one of the last drives of the game. And you elect to pass it 3 straight times when you're just gashing the Bengals defense rushing? I don't know, man. And then the discipline thing. Now here's the thing, right? I was going to get very pissed off at John Fossil initially because I'm like, why the fuck are you, like, what are you doing? Like, logically, what are you doing trying to... And then I saw an angle of him telling Amani, don't touch the ball. And he touches the ball anyway. So we could talk about if it's a discipline thing, but like at the same time, it wasn't like Fossil was like saying touch it. Here's the thing. Amani wanted to play hero ball. He's a fucking idiot, and he needs to be off this team. And I'm not trying to be super reactionary with that. It's just, dude, you can't do that in that situation at all, man. You got to understand, if you touch this ball and you do not corral it, it's a live ball. And he doesn't. And thank God it wasn't anybody else, because holy shit, I can only imagine. And it's just really hard because, you know, the other thing that you lost this game was you couldn't, I mean, you generated pressure, but you just couldn't get a stop in the sense of you couldn't sack Burrow enough. Like when you were back there, right? He was always finding somebody open. They were moving the chains and keeping the offense on the field and moving. But it's just, and I know I'm annoyed in the moment because the game just ended, but at the same time, so you move down to 12 in the NFL draft, and realistically, I really don't care what you do at this point, because as we're evaluating things, we see that Rico is a fine running back in this league, and I think you can build off of that. I like what we're seeing on some of the pieces of the offensive line. Some of these younger defensive players are starting to come into their own. But again, it's just the Cowboys always find ways to lose in ways that I can't foresee. And this was one that's going to be looked at for the rest of time, probably. Like, I understand, thank God it wasn't like Thanksgiving or something like that, but the fact that this was on national television, the Dallas Cowboys, honest to God, that they would have won the game because they blocked the punt. It's probably at the 30-yard line of the Bengals. You run the clock out and you kick the field goal and you win. But instead, it goes the other way. And people will be like, well, Bland got cooked. And I hear you. And I'm not disagreeing with that. But again, it's just the mental stuff. That's where it's like, I really felt like had they won this game, I think Mike McCarthy would have for sure secured his job back. But now it's like, as it's sliding, like you're seeing the same mistakes. Like, okay, why are we going here? Like, I just don't understand it. So look, I don't have much more to say on this game because I am going on vacation. And I really just can't wait to get away from this team for a little bit. I believe they play the Panthers on the road next week. We'll see what happens there. Again, just we're going to continue to evaluate this team as we should. And we're just going to see where it ends up, man, because this is just terrible, man. Like, you can't let this happen. So it was disappointing. You couldn't sustain, like, you were sustaining some drives, but then it was like moments where like, why are you running the ball like this? Why aren't we getting pressure? It is what it is. The Cowboys lose. They're 5-8. Let's move forward. And again, I have nothing else to say, guys, other than what the hell? I don't know. But, no, man, let's just keep moving along. And I will say this. I forgot to add this because we were talking about free agents that are set to come up, and I know Chauncey Goldstein was. I think you need to try and make an effort to re-sign him after not just after this game, but you're starting to see some of these dudes show up like the young players. So, wanted to just mention that before I stop recording. But I'll let you guys go. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next week probably. Bye bye.